You are welcome to today's lesson. Our topic for today's science class is materials. During the lesson, these are some of the key words that will be heard in the course of our lesson. Keywords like materials, properties, object, substance, and then melt. In this lesson, we shall study the use of different materials based on their properties. Have you ever wondered how some objects like tables, cups, spoons, pots are made? Have you also wondered the kind of materials that are used in making these objects? Now, when you take objects like tables, you realize that tables are made of different materials. Example, wood and the nails. Also, when we take fabric, or let's say our clothes that we wear, it is made from certain materials like cotton. Even bottles can be made from either glass or plastics. So let's all pay attention. And at the end of the day, you'll be able to know the uses of these materials according to their properties. When we say material, what is a material? In simple terms, a material is any substance from which an object can be made. Now, objects, as we made mention, like tables, like bottles, like cars, like pots, can be made from substances like wood, plastics, cotton wool, leather, glass, metals, rocks, soil samples. All these are materials from which objects that we use every day are made from. All materials have different properties that help us to use them for making various objects or various things. For example, clay is used for making pots because it can be easily molded. Can you tell why plastics are used for making plastic cups and bowls? Yes, because plastic can easily be melted and molded to form different shapes of bottles or plastic bottles or cups. Can you also tell why metals are used to make cars? So objects are made from these materials based on their properties. Now let's look at some of these properties. Now I want you to do this thing as you are in the house. Try to collect different types of materials from your environment. Materials like cotton wool, maybe piece of cloth, piece of paper, cardboard, wood, plastic, polythene bags, soil samples like clay, maybe some pebbles or marbles, or maybe chalk, maybe crayon, pen, and straws. Now, after that, look at or observe these materials carefully. Now, try to jot down the uses of these objects or these materials that you have collected. Now, from this activity, you realize that some materials have different properties. You realize that some of these materials are hard and some are also soft. You also realize that materials can be smooth or rough when felt. A typical example could be, let's say, a material like the sandy soil. When you feel it in your palm, you realize it is very what? Rough. But when you take a material like, let's say, clay soil, it has a very smooth texture. So when it is wet, it sticks together, its particles stick together, so that it can easily be molded in making what? Pots and bricks. Now, materials like metals are also very hard. That is why they are used in making things like the bridges, cars, and so on and so forth. Also, some materials can be bent into different shapes and sizes, like plastics. Also, materials can be melted easily, but some cannot be what? Melted easily. So the material that you yourself have collected, just observe them and check if you can see these properties in some of these materials. Now, based on these properties, these materials are used to make various and different kinds of what? Objects. So as we said from the properties, you realize that materials are used according to their properties or their characteristics. For example, material like metal can be used to make objects like cars, bridges, because they are what? Hard and strong. Can you use a paper to make a car? No, because a paper is not what? Hard, and it is not strong. Also, materials like clay soil is used to make pots and bricks because it can be molded into shapes without what? Breaking. So as I said, because it is smooth, when it is wet, it is easy for you to mold it into different shapes of objects, because its particles sticks together when it is wet. That's why pots, earthenware, bowls, bricks are made from what? Clay soil, and even some statues. Also, plastics are used for making bottles, plates, bowls, spoons, because plastics can easily be what? Melted and formed into different what? Shapes. At least in your home, you can collect about 3 or 4 bottles with different kinds of what? Shapes. This is because the plastic can what? Be melted and formed into these shapes. Wood is also a material used to make objects like doors, tables, okay, and then chairs, because it is very hard and it cannot break easily. Assuming they use a cloth like a material like cotton wool to make a chair, can it be possible? Or a table? No. How can you nail the joints together? How can you sit on them? It can be possible. Okay. Likewise, materials like cotton wool are also used to make clothes because they are what? Very soft. So you can easily what? Cut them into different shapes and sizes, and then we wear them. Can we wear metals, or can we easily wear plastic? You fall uneasy because they are not what? Soft. So let's take note. What you are trying to drive at is that materials are used in making different or various objects based on their properties or their characteristics. Now, some objects can also be made from one or more materials. So we are going to look at examples of some of these objects. When we take, for example, a car, every car is made of at least more than 3 materials. Why are we saying that? When you take the framework or the body of the car, it's made of what? Metals, right? Good. Now the seats in a car are made of what? Leather. Is that not so? Yes. Now the tire of the car or the wheels are made from what? Rubber. Okay, so car alone at least has about 3 or more materials put together to form what? A car. A table, at least we all know tables are made of what? 2 materials, right? We have the wood and we also have the nails. The nails are made from what? Metals, right? Yes. So when we take a table is made of what? 2 materials, not just 1 material. Even a pencil that you use to write, the lead that is in the pencil is made of what? Metal. And then what you hold as a pencil itself, or what covers the lead, the black lead, is made of what? Wood. Our mobile phones, our dresses, even your shoe. Some of you have some metals on your shoe, okay, as well as leather and even fabric because of the lace. So these are some examples on your screen. You can see some examples of objects that are made of 1 or more materials. The boys like playing football a lot. Yes. The football is made of what? Leather. But there is a tube in the football, in the ball. That tube is made of what? Plastic. So football is made of 1 or more what? Materials. Made of more materials. Either 2 or 3. So let's take note. Certain objects can be made from 2 or more materials based on the properties of the materials.